In a world full of movie podcasts, here is one more. Welcome to Defend Your Movie with Sean Donnelly.
The time has come again. The champion must stand. It can only be one of us. Victoria! So stand up and fight, my friend. There's a title you must defend. Shut it on and on. Bring it to me. Defend your movie.
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Defend Your Movie. I am your host, Sean Donnelly. Right now, I am Sans Farah, but she will be on her way during the episode. You will hear from her later on in the episode. Today, I got a good buddy of mine. You know him. He's been on Impractical Jokers. We work with him all over the country. Mike Finoia, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, bud.
How are you, dude?
Good to see you.
Thank you for doing this. I mostly want to do this podcast because I want to prove to people that we're two different people. I'd like to do that.
I know, right?
The amount of times people think we're the same person is,
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy because I think we could do this. People should know you're in way better shape than I am, and I have might have a better beard than you do. But then you don't have a beard. That's how bad your beard is. You have no beard.
I have no beard.
Yeah.
But you know what?
People mix this up all the time.
Before yours started getting a little salt and pepper.
Yeah.
Was it bright red?
No, it was like everything. It was black, brown, it wasn't bright red, it was reddish brown.
Reddish brown. Yeah, that's what I grew too.
It was like
so if
red
I
beard.
grew one, I even have the same whitey areas now.
Yeah. The
You
gray.
keep me from growing a beard.
I'm growing the beard.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I think people do think we're this. Like, we dress the same, and we
kind of are the same person. I'm the Italian you're the Irish me, which is good. We're good people.
Yeah.
We're good people.
And you know what it's like? I think if you get deep cut, like, you're more hippie-ish than I am. I think you're a hippie guy, fish guy, big fish guy.
Grateful Dead, Fish.
Grateful Dead,
and
Fish.
that basically is about it. I hate hippies. I just like the music.
You just like the music. Okay.
Yeah.
You just like the jam. You know
I
what?
just like to rock
You don't
out,
sign
bro.
on for the culture. You just like the jam.
That's it, dude. I just like to ride the waves.
Well, thanks for doing the podcast,
Of
man.
course.
We are going to. It's funny because I'll mention this story first. We're going to jump around a little bit. We're going to have you defend Meg Ryan because it's funny. It's always a funny process whenever I text with my friends to find out what movie they want to do, because a lot of times guys will send me movies and I'll be like, okay, that sounds good. And then I look it up and I'm like, it's like 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, meaning like 98% of the reviews are considered positive. And I'm like, yeah, that's too well liked. So I always need a movie that's not. But I actually agree. Like, originally you wanted to do Truman Show, and I always thought there was a controversy on if the movie was good or not. I think people like to shit on that movie sometimes. I actually love it. I think it's a cool idea.
Right.
I think there was all sorts of controversies. We actually just talked about Jim Carrey a lot, so that's another reason I didn't do it. But I like that movie, but I could see that being a good discussion movie, a good discussion on the podcast. And then you started being like, Sleepers in Seattle. And then you're like, You've Got Mail. And then you just like, it was all Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks stuff. And I'm like, what the hell's going on at Mike's house? And he's just excited about rom-coms. So I think the most interesting thing we can talk about is you defending Meg Ryan, because I feel like she's fallen on some hard times. I don't even know what she does now. I feel like she might be retired at this point. I don't know for sure. But I think she started off, and we'll talk in a bit about, is Meg Ryan a good actress, or is she just a movie star? I would like to do that.
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's
so
a great
we'll talk
question.
about that in a bit. But the reason I bring it up early is because on my way here, it was kind of a rom-com moment. I'm walking over here from the Astor Place 6 train. And you ever do this where you're on a quiet, like, sometimes you'll be on a quiet block in Manhattan and like you'll kind of enjoying the quiet for a second because, it's a shithole in the city and it's dealing with all the crowds and the noise can be annoying. And sometimes you'll have somebody behind you on the phone and it's like, it's more annoying than being on a smushed subway car at 9 a.m. Like, their voice is going right through you and then you want to punch them in the face. And that's what I had on the way over here. There's this dude talking to this girl on the phone, very intently about school, and that's what school's like. And he's like, going off about it, but his voice was just annoying the crap out of me because it's the only thing I heard. It was just quiet. I was walking by the park, and it was quiet, and I'm like, dude, if you weren't talking, it would just be so much better right now. So, but he was talking, and then he had almost like a relationship moment I heard him have behind me at full blast, full volume in his voice, and he was like, well, so do you want to come over tonight? That's what he did. He did one of those, and then he was like, well, you know what I want the answer to. Like, it was such a, like, I'm like, what a cuck, this guy. Like, for lack of a better phrase. I'm like, he's literally sitting here. I'm like, because I think I'm like that to a point where I'm like, hey, are you okay? I'm like that kind of guy in relationships and stuff. So whenever you can be confident, I'm like, I always like, I'm proud of myself if I'm confident. And this guy, like, the most wormy way was like, well, you know what I want you to do. And then the girl must have been like, what? And he was like, come over. I'm like, well, you should assume it. So I heard that, like, it reminded me of what I was going to talk to you about, because I was like, oh, this could be like a movie conversation.
Absolutely.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And then I didn't even know if the guy got her to, like, agree to come over. He's like, I don't want to pressure you. It was kind of weird, because I think he was trying to be a nice guy. But I think she said, yeah, all right, cool, I'll come over. And then he was like backing out of it. And he was like, well, no, not if you don't want to. Not, it was like very strange conversation. Yeah. But we've all been there. So I almost knew what he was doing. And also I was like, come on, man, just, act like.
Yeah, have some balls.
Have some balls, exactly.
It's funny when you say that, because like when you're on a train that's crowded and everybody's shitty and their hands are on you and it's slimy, you expect it to be shitty. But when you get that one breath of fresh air in New York and you're like, well, my God, I have this entire block to myself. And you can like look around and be like, this is really beautiful. Yeah, it's not negative 30 degrees.
Yes.
There's a guy not pissing on the side of the, building.
You have a couple of minutes of like
for
solace.
that one person to ruin it.
Yeah.
That makes you more angry than 60 people on a train.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm with you 1,000,000% on that.
You're like, oh, this is my one chance to have like a break from the noise. But before we get to Meg Ryan, let's do this. You mentioned, and this is a really good topic, you mentioned that Rolling Stone did the top 100 TV shows of all time, and I didn't get a chance to look it over. You've looked it over, and you said you have issues with it.
Well, yeah, so I recently moved to a new apartment, and I did not get cable. I have Amazon, I have Hulu, and I just signed up for HBO for the Gary Shandling documentary, which was fantastic.
I heard it's awesome.
And while I'm scrolling through, I'm like, oh shit, like I haven't watched The Sopranos in years, right? I used to, back when we had to wait for episodes, you know what I mean?
Right,
like every Sunday we would get one.
Yeah, when it come on live,
yeah.
Or technically, whatever you want to call it, live, yeah.
I mean, even pre-DVR, I think at that point. 97 was when that show started?
Yeah, you're right, and that's pre-DVR.
It was my senior year in high school. That started.
I was just out of high school.
Yeah. So, it got me thinking about, like how incredible of a show it is. I'm watching like basically a season a day at this point. I'm so addicted.
You just bang them out.
I'm just hammering through.
And isn't it a crime? Let's talk about this for a second. A crime how I guess you're watching them on HBO Go. HBO Go does this, and so does Netflix, where they just serve them up. They just have the thing in the bottom of the square. If you don't stop them, it's like crack. If you don't stop them, they're just going to give them to you. You have 10 seconds to tell me not to do this.
Yep.
And then boom, it's back on, and you're just there. You're watching it.
You pretty much need to decide like an hour or two before you're going to stop that you're going to stop.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you kind of have to almost just be like, all right, I need to get the fuck. I need to get up.
Or what you're doing is you're pushing your plans minute by minute. So what you're doing. That's what I was doing. Like I'm starting to watch. I watched the Wire over again, and I'm literally going, okay, I can take like a 7-minute shower. And
I know, right?
I can watch 7 minutes of The Wire, take a 7-minute shower, watch the other part when I'm drying off. Yep. Like I have all these mapped out times.
It's ridiculous. It's like, all right, I won't fast forward the intro. I'll microwave a burrito in the minute and 36 that it takes to.
Right.
So you can race back and eat it
You're
in bed.
You're just living as captive to the show.
And it stinks because it's one of these things where I remember like we talked about it all week. When it was on, like me and my friends would get together, smoke, watch it, and then we would talk about all week, like what do we think's going to happen? Who's going to get popped next? Who's going to rat? And then it's now me alone. All right, one more. Okay, one more. This guy got clipped. All right, one more. Tony's cheating again. Boom, and it's just.
Yeah,
it's that's
and
the world.
And you've seen it already, and you know it.
Yeah,
and it's almost like now. This is how I feel. Me and Alex talk about Seinfeld all the time. We do a one Seinfeld reference per show usually. It's more nostalgic and comforting now than it is. Like you're watching it for the entertainment value, but you're also watching it like, oh, this is the stuff. Like
watching it as an adult is different, and I think that's something that about Truman Show that was like, I watched it as a kid. And it was like, oh man, the world's so like whatever, like imagine when people are spying on us. Imagine when like there's cameras everywhere. We're living it now.
We're living it now, yeah.
And it's
it's a good point.
And when you look back,
that was what 20 years ago.
Yeah, when it was, I think probably 97, 98. Yeah. That was one of the only movies I went to it, and then I stayed in the theater and just sat there and waited for the next showing and watched it over again.
Did you really?
Yep. I sat there with my girlfriend and was like, can we stay? You can leave, but I'm going to stay. That movie, like, blew my mind. I really loved it. And I was crying at the end.
It's one of that's a good topic. That's a good category movie. A movie that you loved, that people liked, but you loved it.
That's
like where people are like, yeah, why are you getting so excited about that? That was me with Vanilla Sky. I love Vanilla Sky.
That's a fantastic movie.
I love it, but it gets shit on a lot.
Yeah. I've heard people say Truman Show's dog shit. I've heard that people say it's, and it's not. It was funny having a conversation with you about what movie to talk about because we literally love all the same movies.
Yeah,
I was like, can we do Slapshot? Can we do Jaws? Can we do, you know? But the thing with this was, it's pretty neat to go back and like, I've been thinking watching Sopranos about how like, there's no texting, there's no social media, there's so many things that show couldn't be made now.
Oh, sure.
Because of those things, and it's weird to think about that. Like how many Seinfelds. Like
we talked about it before. It could have been solved by cell phones.
Yeah, by an
Chinese
emoji.
restaurant, by anything. Yeah. That's why those Seinfeld Today stuff is so funny because
it's hilarious.
They have these plot lines that are just based off stuff that goes on now, and they fit perfectly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know what you mean.
So that got me thinking about this list, and I went through it again this weekend, and I was in Nashville with one of the other comics, and we started rattling through talking about this list. And, as a lover of TV, I just wanted you to, this is the top 100 of all time.
Yeah.
And
what one stood out? We'll talk about it for a couple minutes. What stood out that you had an issue with?
Well, do you want
to... the first one right off the bat, I said it, and we were both like, wait, what?
Yeah, I know. Eastbound and Down as 100.
I don't know. You have to think of it... Are we thinking of it the right way, though? 100 is a lot. That's a big number, 100. But
the thing with this list, and I don't know if you want to toss the link up to whoever, if people are listening, but it goes from, Sesame Street's on it, Jeopardy's on it.
Well, if you Google Rolling Stone top 100 TV shows, it'll pop right up on the top.
Yeah, Golden Girls. Okay,
Golden Girls, yes, that
number
should be on
98,
it.
but
that should be on it.
But it's number 98. Girls is way down. This is
no.
if you go through this, you'll be furious.
Golden Girls is a better show.
Look, there's no Brady Bunch. There's no Cosby Show. Top 100 TV shows of all time. No Cosby Show.
So weird. They go from Portlandia to Gunsmoke. So
this is it. Yeah.
What is what are they basing it on? Is it on viewership? Is it on how it affected the public eye? Or,
that's what I think it should be. Is what did it? There's at least 100 moments in TV that have changed.
Key and Peele 95.
Oh,
Key
just
and Peele's
wait.
a great show, but was Chappelle's show on it?
Yeah.
Farrah's here, everybody. Yay, Farrah. We're doing a little, we're talking about the Rolling Stone top 100 TV shows list. We're going through them before we talk about why the topic that Mike came here for. And it's
I just want to note to Mike, out of respect, I was only 5 minutes past the time I said I was going to be here.
That's quite all right.
I said
5:30. I got you.
Yes.
Mike was 5 minutes.
It's 5:37. It's 5:37. That's all right. 7 minutes past.
Well, Alex told me to relax and put my jacket down.
I'm kidding.
I was running in
I'm
on
kidding.
the
You're
5.
fine. Don't worry about it.
Whatever. I'm a punctual person.
You are a punctual person.
What I was thinking about with this, Sean, was who are they asking, right? And then it's actors, writers, producers, critics, showrunners. Carl Reiner and Gary Marshall are two that, they sent their ballots right before their death. These are just examples of who they asked. So I would imagine... there's probably a lot of very young people, and there's also quite a few...
Okay, here's the thing. Broad City...
I love that we're going to go through this.
All right, 91 is Broad City.
91. That's not, too
I'm
high of a
Alana.
rank.
We've had Alana on the show. I love Alana. I think she's hilarious. I've been on the show. I was a cop on the show. I don't think it should be 91. I'm sorry.
Either. Golden Girls is 98.
Yeah,
I feel like that should be...
Okay, because I just hear 91. I'm like, that sounds fair.
And
that's how this starts. Everybody that I've gone through this with starts
I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
right, I see that can happen. And then they get
Broad
to the
City
70s
could easily
and
be the 91st best show.
Key and Peele 95, Jeopardy 94.
Oh, Key and Peele is very, very good.
I know.
So what is this list called? It's called the top...
Rolling Stone, which all lists suck. We all know that, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
But, except ones I'm featured in.
It basically breaks down the top 100 TV shows of all time, and I just don't understand Dick Van Dyke is at 90, and then a show called Party Down on Starz that had one season.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, but better than Dick.
That's the thing. You have to. That's what I'm saying. What is the criteria? Because you're literally saying Party Down didn't affect the the pop culture as much as Dick Van Dyke did. Right. Like Dick Van Dyke was way more groundbreaking than Party Down was. Party Down was super funny. Do I think Party Down is funnier than Dick Van Dyke? Yes, I do. I love that show. But
do we know who wrote the list? I always imagine it's
all
some
he just
intern.
said it, producers, writers,
it's
showrunners.
People, yeah, it's
okay,
showrunners. Yeah, again, Carl Reiner and Gary Marshall are two of the people. I'm trying to rattle through quick that it says it's just basically quality. The voters have spoken. Vintage classics, new favorites, ambitious psychodramas and stoner comedies, underrated cult gems. So basically, it's probably just look. I think with any list like this, you're going to find people probably yanked some stuff and added some stuff last minute to make a couple people happy. You know what I mean?
Right. I think it might
called
be
in some favors.
The point of it might be to get people riled up because of it.
I mean, well, they did a great job because I was furious.
Yeah, well, because there's a lot of random stuff. Real Time with Bill Maher is on.
Yeah, Jeopardy, Sesame Street. If you're going to get into, game shows, how do you just have Jeopardy? That should be a list of its own. How do you not have Let's Make a Deal or Wheel of Fortune or
that's the
Love
thing.
Connection?
They're all over genres.
Or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
So you're going Real Time with Bill Maher, and you're also going game shows, and you're also going sitcoms, and you're also going hour-long dramas. You're going hour-long dramedies. You're going everything.
The People versus O.J. Simpson at number 75.
No. That's crazy.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's crazy. Yeah, they're doing it, I think, because they want it to go viral. That's why. I think the point of this is...
Girls, 72.
No. I think Girls was very influential, and I think it should beat... It's more talked about than other stuff on here.
But what is it saying the most talked about? Or
no, but I'm what else... But what else would you... It's just by quality of show.
Yeah,
what's it
I
going
feel
by?
That's the thing.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, me too.
Well, once again, it's just one of these things that's what's the point of a list? When they do the top 100, guitar players of all time, well, it's all,
I think you have to do... I think if you're doing any of these lists, it should be things that shape pop culture, shape the public eye, or view on stuff, or what's changing, what's trendy in comedy.
I'm going to Mike's original theory, though, that there's a lot of, behind the scenes hand jobs happening that people want this as a credit. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to get certain things on the list.
I think that's actually true.
Although these TV shows don't need that, so I don't know.
Well, that's what I was wondering because they're done. So it's
right.
Some
they're
of them
not I was on Rolling Stone's top 100. Well, I don't know.
Right. So I think what it is people are saying their favorite shows and. Are they just doing it by ballads? How many beans do you have in one
right.
show? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's hey, put a bean in the box for this show. That
yep.
It's or people. I wonder if these people were submitting their list of top 100 shows, which is very hard to do. I think what it is maybe they're hey, give us your list of your 10 top shows.
Yeah.
And then they do it numbers-wise.
Maybe they asked 10 people their 10 top, and then they just made the list of 100. For all I know, this could have... you know what I mean?
That's very thrown together.
I know. Yeah. But you wonder, though, because it's you got The Honeymooners, which, just growing up, being a fan of television, that show changed everything.
Is it on there?
At number 41. Okay. And then number 38 is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So it's this weird kind of how do you compare how do Orange is the New Black is at 37? It just makes no sense to me.
Yeah. Well, I think what they're doing is
and I love Orange is the New Black.
A lot of things probably conflicted because of the people they were asking. So they're asking people like Carl Reiner and also Joss Whedon or whoever,
Yep.
So but Joss Whedon or they're asking fans as well or something? Is that it? Or
no, people in television. So it's showrunners and all that other stuff. So the top 20 is super quick. Is Cheers is number 20.
See, it used to be on other lists like AFIs and stuff. I think Cheers was number 5 or something. Yeah.
Curb is 19. Star Trek 18.
Star Trek the original.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Twin Peaks 17.
That makes sense.
MASH 16.
Never liked MASH, but it makes sense.
West Wing 15.
Makes sense. I think that Cheers is better than... If you're going cross genres, I think Cheers is better than MASH, and I think it's better than what you just said.
I agree. Yeah. Larry Sanders, 14.
That's Inside Baseball, because that wasn't as, regular people weren't signed on to that as much as comedy people were.
Yep. Letterman, 13. Again,
once again,
the
where
genres.
It's
now
different.
It's a talk
You're juggling
show.
different things.
Yeah. Now, I mean, how can you say that's better or worse than Ed Sullivan or Carson or Conan? You know.
Well, yeah. Or Carson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Carson's what's influenced Letterman. Yeah.
12 Game of Thrones.
Okay, that makes sense to me because it's such a huge. That's huge.
I don't know the whole thing now.
Isn't it
I'm
weird?
not going to be convinced.
11 is Freaks and
Weird.
Geeks.
No, wouldn't Game of Thrones trump Freaks and Geeks?
One season was Freaks and Geeks.
It's great. It's a great show.
I know. That's the thing I don't understand. It's like there's not even anything about like. Look, I'm not saying it's got to be something from 30 years ago that had 20 seasons, but this is a one season show. I like Freaks and Geeks. Look how many great actors got their start on that show.
Freaks and Geeks number 11.
Yeah.
What's number 10?
Daily Show with Jon Stewart.
Okay, that makes sense.
All in the Family number 9.
Okay. Yeah,
Love it.
see, you're all over the map.
Saturday Night Live number 8.
Okay.
Twilight Zone number 7. The original 1959 to 1964.
Okay, makes sense.
Number 6, The Simpsons.
Makes sense.
5, Seinfeld.
Okay, well, me and Alex aren't happy, but we'll
I'm
take
not
it.
either. Mad Men number 4.
Okay, yeah. 3.
Breaking
over
Bad.
Seinfeld.
3 is Breaking Bad.
Yep.
And 2.
The Wire.
Yeah, baby! That's my pick for all time. That would be my number 1.
And you weren't here for the beginning. What do you think's the number 1?
It's along those lines. Think of those types of shows.
Sopranos.
Hey,
Yep.
Sopranos. Yeah, everybody loves the Sopranos. That probably is everybody. I thought they would put Breaking Bad as number 1. A lot of people think Breaking Bad is number 1.
Especially when this was made, like,
No, because Breaking Bad had like a few fall off seasons, which Sopranos
I don't think
also
it did.
but yeah, it did towards the end.
I think they pretty much were like that guy had it mapped out from the beginning. They were
I don't
5.
think Breaking Bad and Sopranos are on the same plane in my eyes.
Really? Oh, the first person I heard
Really?
say that. I think people love Breaking Bad.
I mean, I love Breaking Bad. I loved it.
But I think
Sopranos.
it's a perfect.
Yeah,
I
I think Sopranos though is at a different level than Breaking Bad, just in terms of
I
the
like
whole
Sopranos better.
season.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
series.
I
not
like Sopranos
season.
better, but
Breaking Bad had seasons that were
The
some of
Wire
the
for
best.
me trumps all of that.
I
The
haven't
Wire
watched
for me is
that.
the best show. I can't get over how good the writing's everything's so good. It's on the Wire. The Sopranos, like you said, it had fall off seasons. People think The Wire had fall off seasons too. They don't like number 2 and number 5. I like both those seasons. I know they're not as good as 3 and 4, but they're good. And the first season's great. That's interesting.
The thing that annoyed me the most about this list is No Cosby Show. And I really do think that might be
Well, they
one
did
of the
that.
most...
But it's
That's
political.
funny.
It's political. It's political.
I know, but how ridiculous. I mean,
We're
That
just
is
going to
funny.
forget he ever
Louis
existed.
was on the list. But
Oh.
Cosby Show was not on the list. But this happened like in between things.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
I mean, I personally think that show was one of the best shows of all time. Like, I think that should be top 10.
I think
I honestly never
I
seen
think
it.
Golden Girls is a better show than Cosby was, and I thought that before all this
Yeah,
stuff happened.
absolutely.
I think Golden Girls was it's getting its due now, but I think when it was going on and it was part of the NBC must see TV and all that, it was just like another sitcom. But you realize now when you watch it, you're like, oh my god, this is amazing.
I know.
I
This
need to
is-
watch that.
Oh, it's
Golden Girls?
Yeah.
You would absolutely love it.
It's such
Okay,
it's
I'm
such
gonna
an
watch
unbelievable
it.
show.
I'm gonna start it
It's
tonight.
a joke every 7 seconds, and it's like
What do you watch it on?
it's on TV all the time, but I don't think it's
on Hulu?
It might be on Hulu. I think it's on Hulu.
It might be on Hulu or Amazon.
One of those things has.
I have
it.
my fingers crossed.
Yeah, I think it's on Hulu.
I feel
you have
like
all
this
of
is a
them?
big step for me.
you-
This is
What, the show?
This will be a good watch for me.
If I will be very shocked if you don't love it. I will be very shocked because it's right up your alley.
You know what I started watching again recently, and I realized they can never make that show now, is Cheers. Have you ever watched Cheers?
I have not.
I mean,
Cheers
you
is so
can't.
good.
It's so unbelievable. You should check that out too. But
Well, they
you-
say the Cheers pilot, they say, is the perfect pilot for a sitcom. When it was like the heyday of the sitcom, and it was like because it introduces the characters perfectly, and like they say, if you want to write a sitcom, you look at the pilot of Cheers.
Yeah, I heard originally on the Nielsen ratings that
didn't
show.
do well.
No, it did terrible.
No,
Yeah, it
I
really
heard
did
that too.
bad.
Yeah, it's a really good show. All right, that was fun. I don't agree with it. What would be your number one? Just 'cause I don't want to go through 10, but like, what would be your number one?
I mean, I love Sopranos. I get it. I mean, Seinfeld's pretty amazing.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah, how
I'd say it
could
would be
you
a
say
toss up.
which
genres.
is-
Yeah, it'd
which-
be-
yeah.
it would be a
How could
toss
you
up
say
between
which
those.
is
That's
you know,
but they do that in that list, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. But I would have to say of all like I'd have to say The Wire. I would have to say The Wire being my number one.
Yep.
Because I'm like just because I have the respect for how hard it is to write something like that.
Of course.
But Seinfeld, I feel the same way. But just because the drama involved, the acting. You know, Seinfeld is still a sitcom at the end of the day.
Right.
The acting involved in The Wire is so much better and all that. What about you, Farrah? What would be your number one if you did a list?
I don't know.
You know, show your all-time favorite TV show?
I can't say one, but I'll get back to you. I'll think about it.
Alrighty.
Well, I can't.
I need to put some thought into this.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you not wanting
answer.
to. Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's get to the reason that my boy is here, Michael Finoia. We talked about the details surrounding. I was texting Mike and being like, "What movie do you want to defend?" First, he's saying Truman Show. And we talked about how Truman Show.
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's too liked, but there are people that hate Truman Show, the movie.
Oh, definitely.
But he brought up.
It would be a fun one to do.
It would be a fun one to do, but I liked it. I liked it a lot. But the other thing is, he brought up a good point about Truman Show is that it's one of those movies that he loved it, loved it, and people like it. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those people that most people like.
I loved it. I loved it. I think some people do love it.
I went on a date with my girlfriend to it, and I cried at the end, and I was so blown away that everybody got up to leave, and I said, "I'm staying. I'm watching it again." And she was like, "You're out of your mind." And I was like, "You could go. We could break up.
God.
We could break
Did
up."
she stay?
Oh
she
my
stayed.
God.
Yeah.
She stayed.
Really?
Yeah, she was a good girl.
I don't know.
I loved it, and it blew me away in the sense that, like, I hope we don't get to this point in culture where every move we make is marketed and everything is, an advertisement, and our life is someone else's bubble that they're making money off of, and that's literally what we're living right now.
That's what's happening
I
now.
love it. I love that movie so much.
Yeah, there's certain things, books, movies, that even music that I'll go back to at different times in my life.
Yeah.
And it'll mean something entirely different.
I wonder how I would take in The Truman Show now. I think I did try to rewatch it, and it felt long.
Like you were more excited the first time you saw it.
I feel like it blew my mind so much at the time. I wonder, it might have the same effect right now. I don't know. I'm just curious.
You know, somebody was talking to me about it recently. I think what they got mad about is like sometimes they did beat you over the head a little bit in the movie, like. Christoph is the guy, Christ is the guy.
Yeah.
That was kind of thing. Somebody was talking about it recently. They're like, that's too corny. I'm like, yeah, but.
And I remember watching
they were in on it because he's very he's like this genius, and he's like this thoughtful genius with the smart guy glasses and the hat and everything. Like they knew it was like tongue in cheek.
And at one point he goes, "I am the creator of a television show." Talking from the moon.
It's supposed to be funny, you know?
It actually motivated me. This is how big of a dumb hippie I was in college. I wrote a song. I was in a band in college, and I wrote a song called Burbank, and it's about Truman.
Truman Burbank.
Yeah, it was about Truman. It was like
Burbank.
And it like the chorus was like, "And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night." It was such I'll have to send you like a copy of it from an old tape.
I just think
we hardly knew you.
It's a movie that resonated with a lot of people because it taps into that idea of like, what if everything is actually happening around me?
Yeah.
Which is a real, I think, a natural
ego.
human feeling.
Yeah.
So my wife and I are not friends on social media. We are not friends on Facebook. I was looking up a t-shirt brand on Google on my phone, and it showed up on her Facebook feed as an ad. And she was like, why would Untuck It, like this, like whatever, like the shirt brand show up on my Facebook feed? And we started testing it, and I looked up the band Fish, I looked up Honda CRV, I looked up all these things, and they were showing up on her feed. But we're not even connected on social media.
You told me that one night, and I think it's because of the microphones involved.
Yeah, and also
it's all Truman Show
and
shit.
also you have an app
connections
that you're connected on somehow.
Yeah.
So
They
and
figured
that
out that
shares
you're married.
data with Facebook.
That's scary shit.
Yeah.
What's the difference between that and Christoph being in the? It's just like Zuckerberg.
Yeah, it's all connected.
Yeah.
But what we're going to talk about right now, we also brought up another good question, which he's not just going to defend a Meg Ryan movie. The other thing he was doing was like, hey, how about Sleepless in Seattle? I'm like, that's a classic romantic comedy. He goes, how about You've Got Mail? Once again, people love it. So I'd like to talk about, if you have any thoughts on this, is Meg Ryan, first off, defend Meg Ryan. What happened to Meg Ryan? I don't know where she is.
I'll do some research.
Do some research if you can. And also, I want to know, is Meg Ryan a good actor, or was she just a movie star for the time that she was a movie star? Because if you really look at her, she's not a great actress.
No, she's definitely not.
Yeah.
I disagree.
You think she's a thespian. You think she's a great actress.
Correct. I think she is so effortless that it makes you think she's not a good actress, and she's charming and she's interesting, and that's taken for granted because it happened. She's able to do it in such a natural way, and she's that girl you knew. And at that time when she was in all the movies, that was really, you know.
I mean, she was my first like heavy duty crush. I love
she
so
brings
much.
a comedic charisma.
Let me ask you, I know the first time I saw her. Do you know the first time you saw her? What she was in?
Yeah.
What was it?
When Harry Met Sally.
Oh, see, no, mine was earlier than that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was in a movie called Armed and Dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
She's
Holy shit, you're right. And here I am defending her.
Yeah. She's in a movie called Armed and Dangerous with John Candy and Eugene Levy.
Yeah.
And she plays like, I think Eugene Levy's love interest in it. She's probably 19 in the movie.
Doing
Yeah.
And she's very bubbly, but she's also very Meg Ryan. She's just one thing.
Yeah,
one
she's
note.
one note.
One
yeah.
note.
That's the thing
my argument.
I'm with you on that. And I think that...
I think that's why she kind of went away. I think she had, and it's a terrible thing, but she had that expiration date that these actresses have.
have you seen her recently?
A lot of plastic surgery.
She looks like a Halloween mask that got too close to a flame.
Yeah, I know.
She's just melty.
Sad.
I know, it's terrible.
And it sucks because when you grow up, whenever you see that happen, somebody that you grew up and you're like, oh my God, you have a crush on her.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't one of my main crushes, but like I thought she was so cute. And then you're like, oh, you feel bad, like that happens.
Yeah,
but
Tara Reid.
They feel they have to do
Look at her
that.
most recent Facebook post.
It's just her face down in a chair.
It's her face down in a chair, and it says, "When you realize it's only Tuesday."
Oh, jeez.
And it has 2.2 thousand likes.
Wow.
Is she just doing memes?
That's like
She went from Armed and
that's
Dangerous
like
to memes?
so bizarre. I just was like, I'm gonna go see what the most recent thing she's done. That was 21 hours ago.
Recently,
Yeah,
somebody
there
asked...
she is, right there. That's what she looks like now. And
She looks cute.
no, it's too much Botox and all that
Yeah,
stuff, and I feel bad. Like, I don't blame her for doing that because she felt pressure to do it, I think, probably.
I mean, if you go back to
or
her
she wanted to, whatever.
and like Sleepless in Seattle, where I feel like she's at her like most purest of beauty, when I first fell in love with her, kind of, you know?
Yeah.
There's something, like, it doesn't even look like, I mean, obviously she is wearing makeup, but she kind of like plays this person that probably wouldn't wear makeup.
Wouldn't
you know
wear
what I mean?
makeup,
Very
right.
like
natural.
Yeah, I just love that. And then I read a thing recently where someone was like, "How come you had so much plastic surgery?" And her answer was, "There's so many
Somebody
other
asked her
things.
that?
Yeah, there's so many other things to think about than a woman's looks. Like, how come we're focusing on this?" And it's like, answer the fucking question, because you look like a birthday candle.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something wrong.
But it's
with
also
you.
a thing where
She used to be so beautiful.
I call bullshit on that. Her saying that. I'll tell you why. Because you can't have that much plastic surgery and say there's so much other stuff to worry about than a woman's looks. It's like, well, you didn't. You worried about a woman's looks. Your looks.
Exactly.
And you it was like you didn't have to do that. I think she could have been like a Diane Keaton, where she could have probably just like she was a naturally beautiful woman. Like and I think what happens is, and I believe me, I think it's one of the worst things there is in show business is when you can age out. I think that's fucking horrendous. I think that you should be able to. But there are women that keep going.
That's what,
like Diane Keaton. Diane Keaton's like one of them. Like, she still works, and I think she had that same kind of thing. She was charismatic enough where she would have just been like, you know, First Wives Club type deal, like you know, that kind of stuff, you know.
And
I'm trying to get information on what she's doing.
I guarantee what happened. She worried about her own looks.
Really?
She wanted more jobs. She didn't do anything. She wanted to stay the young love interest in movies, and she got. That's fine, but. Like, you don't do it that much. People. It's so funny. It's like the people who build you up and they try to tear you down.
Yep.
That's what it is. Like, once you get past a certain point with that stuff, people call bullshit on it.
Right.
And you can't do all that and then go, why do you even care? It's like, well, you care.
Yeah,
That's
look
why
at
I'm
you.
asking.
Yeah, you totally care.
I wouldn't ask her that per person.
Right.
It's sad.
Well,
It's sad, but she's awesome and she's a legend. But I think that she's like, when I think of her, I think I have this thing where I separate actors you can separate actors from movie stars. And she's a movie star. You don't actually have to be, she can hold her own, she can do the job, but it's a one note thing where you're acting, but it's like me acting. Where
Right.
It's like I'm a comedian acting. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Right.
Like there's no deep emotional connection there. I don't think she ever had that. I think she had moments in her career, possibly, but she never stepped out of her box.
She played that character perfect, and if she had the chops to do to branch out and play other more, better aging, going into the autumn of her years kind of thing, then she wouldn't have had to go that route.
Because she's not that old. Is she in her 50s? How old is she? She's in her 50s or 60s.
Yeah. But wait, no, 50s. The thing is, I think she's younger than you think.
That's because of the thing.
She started so young, too. And, but also, like, what I don't understand, too.
Oh, no. She started her career in 1981.
And she was, probably 17?
19.
Let me find out.
You see a lot of people go
anywhere.
You see a lot of people go the way of theater too. You know what I mean? Like acting. If you're an actor, look. If you're a comic, and
she's 56, I think she looks pretty good.
That's not. But it's.
That's 16 years older than I am. That's not that much.
I know, it's kind of crazy.
I'm so old. It's crazy.
I know. That's nuts when we start thinking about that shit.
I know. When you're closer to that than certain other ages, I know it sucks. But that's not that old. She
also only has 25,000 Twitter followers. I don't know.
She's purposely, I think she's kind of, the grid. She's kind of having a
cool.
a thing. I think the last movie she was in was 2015, and it wasn't. I mean, it's nothing I heard of.
I think the other reason why normally if it was just somebody who like did this stuff and wanted to be left alone, I'd be like, yeah, of course. But I think her preemptively doing it, and I think that's what made people go, why? You didn't have to do that.
I just think it's so hard to sit in our podcast, studio and comment on her plastic
That's why I'm prefacing it by
because
saying,
it's like we don't even know
it's terrible.
Her emotional state or what she was hoping for from the... I mean, these things are not a perfect science.
Well, you know who's a perfect example, too, is Tara Reid. Tara Reid was this beautiful, like, knockout, everybody's favorite, she was, dynamite.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
And then you look at her now. I mean, she had a bunch of botched surgeries and whatever, but she went from being like everybody's favorite to now look at you. I mean, that's that's it. I mean, but you have to gracefully go. Look, if you're a comic that's 50. And all of a sudden you start wearing, backwards jeans, and you're like trying to be
like crisscross.
Yeah, all of a sudden you're going back into.
Showed your age.
Yeah, it's just I know, right?
I'm like backwards jeans.
How about if you're a comic who's 38 making crisscross references?
Exactly, you're screwed. You got to get plastic surgery and
I get
move
that.
to
A lot of people
Vermont.
don't get that. Yeah.
Look up backwards jeans, everybody.
That was a thing we did.
Crisscross, KRISKROSS.
She won't know it.
Oh God, we had such a fun life before.
It is kind of cool though. Even at my age, so youthful compared to you guys, but no, but at the age we're all at, that we got to experience life before the internet and after. Because I got to have life before the internet.
That's a really good thought.
It's interesting, because we were kind of the last of that.
It's true, and also think of it this way: is there another thing like that we're gonna end up getting older and dying? Is there a thing like that we're not going to experience that changes the world like that? You think? As much as the internet did?
No.
It's almost like it's like printing press, internet.
It's like that.
Yeah, because you can't look back into history and say oh no, this is when something just like the internet.
Yeah, it's like the airplane and then AOL. It really is like the thing that I think that it's going to be one of these things where it's like you don't actually have to do anything in order to have something appear on your eyelid. You know what I mean? We're going to get Terminator.
Sure. But I still think it will all be internet based somehow.
Of course.
Maybe though. It might become just some network that everything's connected to, and it's I don't know.
You wonder this, with the way things are going, you wonder with Facebook and this data stuff, will there be an anti-digital revolution of people, whole sects of people that just basically become not Amish, but quasi-Amish, where they're not doing as much technology.
Yeah, I get you, web Amish.
Web Amish, or
they're basically just doing Excel and PowerPoint, and they're staying off the web.
Yeah, rotary phones,
basically typewriters.
Yeah. Is that not purposely going back in time so they don't have to?
I think people do that. I think
Meg Ryan
whenever
did that with her
something...
face. I think she. I'm kidding. Stupid.
And such a bold move. I took Facebook off my phone, and it was I've
done that.
Wow, what a wild.
Did you have the involuntary go to your phone response?
Of course, yeah. I mean, I still have the other two, but I hate them. I absolutely hate them. I don't love social media. I really hate that that's a part of what we do.
I feel like I'm on the least now. I think it's turned into a big commercial.
Yeah,
and
Instagram is too now. Every third thing is an ad.
I know, and I miss when it used to be an Instagram timeline by the date, where it would be the most recent thing post was at the top, and you would scroll through, and in a timeline order.
What is it now? Algorithm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. And you only see the same posts from the same people. Even if you follow 1,500 people, you're really only seeing 10 people's posts.
Well, I mean, it also goes to the fact of, like, we were talking earlier, like, we used to have to wait to watch an episode of a show. Now you're going to go watch Golden Girls, and you're going to rifle through it in, like, 3 days, where we had to, like, shit, man, like, this is only on, like, once a week, and it was a thing.
I mean,
like,
I remember that, too.
Yeah?
No,
yeah. Oh, I do.
Really?
I do.
Wow, you dinosaur.
Back in my day.
Back in my day, you used to watch Friday Night
TGIF.
TGIF.
What was your TGIF lineup? Do you remember?
I know it was like Sabrina.
Never heard of it.
That's later on.
What?
No.
Mine was like
Boy
Full
Meets
House.
World when they moved to Full House. Full House was my favorite show.
We had Full House, Family Matters, which was with Carl Winslow.
Yeah.
What about Boy Meets World?
No, that was past our. I mean, I knew of it.
Speaking of Meg Ryan, I think she was on a sitcom back in the day. I think she might have been on Growing Pains a long time ago. I could be completely wrong.
No,
about
she
that.
was. Her original thing is she was on a soap opera when she was like super young.
She was like Ryan's Hope or something.
Yeah,
that was. That's what I was thinking.
Or like Days of Our Lives or something like that. I don't remember which, but she was definitely on a soap opera really young.
I think I just have the thing about Meg Ryan where it's like, and I like her for what she does. It's one of those kind of people. You like them for what they do, but not like you're not like, hey, if I want to watch some great acting, I go look up a Meg Ryan movie,
right?
Because she's always like that's the type of movie she always would be in. It's like the ones where talk about like that's another sad part where it's like. That's why it makes sense she did what she did. Bechdel test type thing where she's always playing the girlfriend of some. That's what she's doing.
Yeah.
And like she's in Inner Space. She's great in Inner Space.
Fantastic.
But she's Dennis Quaid's girlfriend. Her whole thing is serving the whims of Dennis Quaid.
Yeah, of course. And like with her and those movies, I refuse to watch stuff I don't like, and that's a flaw of mine. Like I know what I like, and I kind of stay in that lane.
Yeah.
I need
Most
to
people
branch
do.
out. Well, yeah, but I mean, like I'm proud of people when they're like.
You mean watch new stuff?
Yeah, just
Like
something.
we're gonna do when we go see
The Quiet Place.
We're gonna
Something-
go see A Quiet Place, which is something I would never normally see.
And aren't you
Sean
excited
wouldn't
about
normally.
that?
Yeah, I'm excited because I'm gonna go with my bud, and we're gonna it's gonna scare us and be uncomfortable, but it's gonna be like an experience I never have in a big screen theater situation.
Yeah, so like a snowy or rainy like hungover day, and I'm popping through. You've Got Mail or Sleepless in Seattle comes on. I am stoked.
Yeah,
I
me
love just
too,
because.
for
But I mean,
sure.
I wouldn't go rent it. But it's like, yeah, this is dope. Like I love how easy these are, and the thing I love about Meg Ryan in those two movies in particular is that like she fights these urges to like give in to like her real feelings, and she makes these faces every now and then where she's kind of like. Oh, yeah, like love wins again. Like I have no, you know what I mean? And it was such a cute like one day I'm gonna make a girl feel like that. And that was
So
like
you love romantic comedies?
I love those too, I think.
Well,
I don't know. I don't see that's the thing. I don't branch out enough to have
It seems that's a genre you enjoy.
But the type of acting she does in those movies lends itself to a very old-fashioned type woman.
That's the thing. Yeah. I think it's more psychological.
I think
than that.
now they try to switch those up. Now in the age of Bridesmaids and shit like that, where it's like, no, they're more like
fun and
independent.
goofy and totally. Where I like the more kind of the
traditional like,
life is pulling
need
these
to
two
see
people
it. Yeah, I
apart,
can't remember
and then like they pull it whether it's. It was the beginning of online chat. Like,
oh yeah,
You've Got
I mean,
Mail.
I've seen the movie 1,000
Young
times.
Dave Chappelle.
Yes.
I mean, how great.
Yep.
He plays he plays like he works in a corporate office.
Yeah, and also the thing that's great about it too is it's a romantic movie in New York. There's something about movies. There's something about crime movies that happen in Boston, and romantic movies that happen in New York that I love.
Like The Town.
Or I mean,
Town's great.
The Departed, Mystic River.
Yeah.
The Whitey, Black Mass.
Working
That's not a good
Girl.
movie. I don't like that movie.
I didn't like it, but it was a good.
It's cool that it happened.
Yeah, it happened there. And then New York is just the best place for romantic.
New York is good. We know one good crime movie in New York, Inside Man. The Spike Lee movie was gonna be a Martin Scorsese movie, I think, or maybe. Denzel is in it. with Jodie Foster.
I haven't seen that. I'll have to check it out.
Oh, it's good
Inside
stuff.
Man.
About a bank robbery. Oh, it's good stuff.
I mean, like, and then also, of course, you got Taxi Driver and Dog Day Afternoon happens.
Of course,
New York,
that started
right?
the whole thing.
Those
are
the best.
That's what I've said this before on the podcast. If they asked a bunch of directors, they go, "What was the best time for movie making?" And they didn't say like the golden age, 50s and the 40s and the talkies and the 20s when we could talk on movies. They were like the 70s.
The 70s
because they were the theater movies were independent movies. If you look at all, those are independent. Taxi Driver is an independent
cool.
movie.
It's unbelievable.
And it was out. It was a wide released, movie. That's what I'm saying. Taxi Driver. Like you look at that, you're like Meg Ryan would never be in Taxi Driver.
No, absolutely not. No, you need.
But Sybil Shepherd was, and she, what I'm saying, like, so it's,
you need a 13-year-old Jodie Foster.
Yeah, the hooker. Yeah, Jodie Foster, the hooker. yeah, exactly. Dude, thank you so much for doing this.
Oh God, of course, went by fast.
What would you like to plug, my friend?
Well, at Mike Finoia on all the social media that I hate, Finoia. And I don't know when this is dropped.
It'll come out Friday.
Oh, cool. I will be at on 4/20. I'll be at Fairfield Comedy Club in Fairfield, Connecticut, and then the weekend of the 26th to the 29th, I will be at Hilarities in Cleveland. So
very nice.
Dates at MikeFinoia.com.
And Farrah, anything?
If you're in Brooklyn tomorrow, Saturday, what?
You're plugging something. I can't believe it.
Yeah, because it's a nice benefit show.
Very
and
good.
Music
Yes.
and all this stuff. And
I
it's on
encourage you to plug
Saturday. It's
things.
going to be beautiful weather, 76 degrees.
Oh, can't
Come on
wait.
out to the Footlight in Bushwick to raise money for the Brain and Behavioral Center.
Very nice.
Yes. And check out Handmaid's Tale, the musical. Google it. Come to one of our upcoming shows. It's smash.
It's smash hit.
It's a smash.
Smash hit. And I am at Shawnee Time on Twitter and Instagram. We are at Defend Your Movie on Twitter. Tweet at us. Let us know what you think of the podcast, what we should do. Any constructive criticism we welcome. We have
on Sean, not on me. Just be nice to me, please. I need it.
What do we have, Farrah? We have a Patreon page. What is the address?
Patreon.com/defendyourmovie.
We are on Showbiz Studios. They have a YouTube page. They also have an iTunes page. Thank you so much to Alex for letting us record here. And we will see you next week. And we love you very much. Goodbye.
Bye.
There's a time